All right, and we are recording. So welcome to our weekly team call. Today is Tuesday, May 1st. So it's no longer gonna be May, it's now May. My daughter was listening to that song last night and I'm like, come on, don't fall for this. But anyway, so welcome to May. Tomorrow is a big day for us. We're launching a product. It's the 2B Mindset. I have been a part of the 2B Mindset Coach Test Group, which is just like a pre-launch group since March 8th, and I've had really great results, and I'm a really big fan of this program, and I want to spend some time talking to you about it, explain a little bit about it, probably give you a little bit of more information than you've been getting, just based on a lot of the questions I'm getting from you guys and from other people too. I think there's some fundamental misunderstandings about what the program is all about, and I don't think corporate's doing a very good job of really communicating that. I watched the call from yesterday with Alana, which I thought was great, but it's kind of holding back some information about the program that I think is really important. And instead, it's just kind of telling people, hey, you're really going to like this. I'm going to give you some more specifics. I'd appreciate it if you don't share those because I could maybe get in trouble, and I don't want to get in trouble, and I don't think you want to get me in trouble. At least I hope you don't. But I do want to give you some more specifics about the program and kind of what's going on. So I guess from like a 500, or a 10,000 foot level thing, again, a lot of the questions I'm seeing are things like, can I have this or can I have that? And part of that, I think, is just a real sort of, we're stuck in a mode of this is what we're used to seeing from Beachbody. We're used to seeing a comprehensive system. Comprehensive system means fitness and nutrition, okay? And I think when we're in that mode, we're always trying to accomplish something, right? So like I'll use 80-Day Obsession because I think it's probably the most extreme program from a comprehensive standpoint that we've ever released. I'm not saying it's the hardest program. I'm saying it's the most comprehensive, extreme program in the way that you have the timed nutrition and the workouts and all that stuff. This is not like that. Okay, and so you're gonna need to kind of flush that out of your head that this is not like that. And I'll preface this by saying exactly what I've been saying to you guys for the last several weeks. If that 80-Day Obsession system is working for you, which I have no question in my mind, it absolutely works if you can follow it. The problem I have is I can't. And there's a lot of reasons for that I'll get into. I guess I can't. I won't is a better thing. I could, but I'm not gonna, and I didn't. Because it didn't work for me, and I didn't see it as something that was long-term and sustainable. The truth about me is I don't want to be obsessed about anything, because the way I work, when I get obsessed with one thing, other things in my life suffer, and I don't want to live like that. I've done that before, and it didn't lead to a good place. What has led to a good place is finding things that are long-term sustainable, which is why I like this program as much as I do. So that's the first thing to understand, is to understand this is not a diet. It's not a 21 day, it's not the ultimate reset where you've got 21 days, no alcohol, no coffee, no sugar, right? It's not like that. It's not like the 21-day fix where for the next 21 days, you're going to do this very specific thing, or even 80-Day Obsession where for the next 80 days, we're going to do this very specific thing. And that very specific thing is going to mean on a day when you might not feel like eating a cheeseburger, we're going to ask you to eat a cheeseburger, okay? Or on a day like when you do feel like eating a cheeseburger, we're going to tell you not to eat a cheeseburger, okay? And this is just kind of based from my outside observations. Again, I didn't do that program because I just knew it wasn't going to fit me and my lifestyle. So that's the first thing, is just to fundamentally understand that this is different. What this is designed to do is create some long-term healthy habits, not, hey, we're going to charge for 21 days or 80 days or 60 days or whatever that might look like. But more, let's find a way to create healthy relationships with food, to learn to love vegetables, and to learn how to integrate vegetables in a way that you don't feel like you're penalizing yourself, right? And then learn to, and perhaps slowly over time, limit certain foods. Okay, limit certain foods. And I think maybe I can do a better job of explaining this than corporate, because I think what's going on with corporate is They're trying to get you to buy the product and then look at it. I'm going to tell you what it's about, and then you can decide whether it's for you or not. So that's the first thing, is just from a mindset thing. I think that's one of the reasons is this to be mindset, and I'll get into what that means as well. I'm going to give you the 2 bunnies today, so don't tell anybody, because otherwise I'm going to get in trouble. The other thing is the way it approaches exercise. So exercise is extra credit, okay? Which means you don't need to be tied to any specific fitness program. That's the first thing that really appealed to me about this. This thing found me, like, this is just God's intervention sort of a thing. This found me at such a great time, because one of the reasons I didn't do 80 Day Obsession was I had all these ski trips planned. And I already paid for these things. Like, I wasn't going to not go on them so that I could work out with Autumn, you know? I was going to go do what I was going to do. And 80 Day Obsession is not one of those things you can half-ass. That's why it's called Obsession, and this is called Mindset. It's a different thing. So I didn't do that. I obviously didn't do that program. Then I found myself in this transitional period that kind of happens to me every year, where ski season's over. I usually gain weight. You know, it's just winter coat type stuff. It always happens to me. The last couple of years, I've had a hard time peeling off the winter coat and getting ready for summer. And I've started to look at, like, okay, well, the velodrome season, so I ride my bike on kind of, it's like a little NASCAR track for bikes. And that season's starting, and I want to do well this year. Last year was like really introductory. This year I want to be more competitive. How am I going to do that, right? And what's the path there? And I started looking at different Beachbody programs, and then trying to figure out how to come up with my own schedule where I'd be riding my bike a couple days a week and then doing a Beachbody program a couple days a week. And that's something I've done for a really long time, because I love riding my bike. You know, I really do. And so I was like, what am I going to do for nutrition, right? Because that's really what I need. What I really need to do is lose 10, 15 pounds would be even better. And all of a sudden this thing comes along, and I was like, I would love to be a part of that. I get on the first call, introductory call, and they're like, hey, exercise is optional. It's extra credit. For me, that was an insanely liberating thing. I've been working out with Beachbody stuff for 15 years. I've been a coach for 11, actively coaching for 9 now. And you get in, part of that, one of the things that happens to you, I think, or has happened to me, and that's how me. One of the things that's happened to me is I feel like I'm not participating in actively being a coach unless I'm doing the program that everybody's doing. And there have been times where it's like Country Heat, and I'm like, nope, you know, and that's okay. But other times, like Shift Shop comes out, and I'm like, oh, super excited about Shift Shop, or 22-minute hardcore. That comes out, and I'm like, okay, this is a real good fit for me. But I have this shoulder injury that just isn't allowing me to participate in doing push-ups. I can do them, and it's okay, but the next day it hurts, and it works its way into my spine, and it's just not a good thing. And I'm doing some treatment and stuff, but it's just not getting better. So that's why riding my bike is a really great, healthy thing for me to go do, right? So obviously there's other things I can do about my shoulder, but I have this kind of restriction, you know, and it has led me to kind of feel like I'm not doing my thing, right? I'm not doing my job. This is my job. This is what I do, right? And that feeling is awful, and it's awful. And most of the time when people have something like that, and I'm no different, I'm just a human being, they will just avoid, right? Like, what, you know, if you don't want to clean the kitchen, you know, it's easy to just go do something else, right? And that's kind of where I was getting to, and it was frustrating me because the portion fix didn't work for me, and which is why I knew 80 Day Obsession wasn't going to work for me. I don't like the containers. I don't like the rigidity of it. I don't like having to fill them. I don't like having to think about how many of the little things I need today. I just need a simple, healthy eating program that gives me some flexibility and allows me to operate within a space that is going to make me long-term successful. And that includes exercise. So when they said exercise is optional, I said, I'm interested. So then we got introduced to the program itself. And I want to talk a little bit about that. Then we're going to get into like what's in the box and all that stuff. So I'll get their pricing, all that. you have questions, please post them below. I've got a couple of other ones that I'm going to answer. Some of them I'll answer as I go. I think a lot of them I just did answer with this sort of like understand what you're getting yourself into. So then I get introduced to the program. And the way I approach almost everything, because again, I don't want to be obsessed with anything, is I ease my way into it. And that could be a ski trip. The first day on the mountain, if it's someplace I've never been before, I don't go up and huck off the gnarliest thing. I work my way into it, right? And I decided that's what I was going to do with this. So these are the 2 bunnies, which is what 2B stands for. It stands for 2 bunnies because it's 4 rules and it's really cute if you make little bunny hands, right? So the 2 bunnies are this: water first, veggies most. Okay, and this is all I did for the first week. I just did these 4 things: water first, veggies most, meaning you drink water before you eat anything or drink anything. I have water before coffee. That's new for me. I love my coffee. So water first, right? Then veggies most. Most of your plate should be vegetables, okay? And I'm going to show you in a minute how they kind of lay out the plate. I had to cross out some of that stuff because I just don't want to get in trouble with Beachbody. So water first, veggies most. The other rules are track your food, and I'm going to show you the tracker in a minute, okay? And then weigh yourself every morning. Every single morning you weigh yourself on this program. Now I heard water first, okay, cool, do that. You can see my water right here, this right here. It's my water, so it's pretty easy to get to, and I drink water all day long. Veggies most. Oh, I know that'll work. Because I like veggies, but I'm lazy because that cabinet right there next to the water is full of crackers and chips and cheap ass carbs that I've been just opting for because I'm lazy, right? So, okay, veggies most. Track your food. Okay, I can do that. I've done that before, no problem. It's gonna be a lot easier when the app comes out, which I'll talk about in a minute. Then weigh yourself every day. That 4th one, I was like, that sucks. That's a mistake. As I have been telling people for years, not to weigh yourself every day, for sure, but not to be a slave to the scale because it can lie to you. I was wrong about that after doing it now since March 8th. So whatever that is, 40 days or whatever we are. More than that. What has happened as a result of that, creating that habit that every morning I'm going to wake up, go to the bathroom first, then I'm going to weigh myself. I know how much I weigh. I mean, I'm within half a pound every single day. I mean, and it's like clockwork. I'm very rarely surprised by it. And if I am surprised by it, the next thing I do is go to rule number 3, which is track your food and look at yesterday, okay? And say, well, what did I do yesterday? Did I have a piece of cake yesterday? Because if I had a piece of cake yesterday, I shouldn't expect the scale to go down, right? Now, if I had a really kick-ass day and a perfect day and the scale goes up, that would concern me. I have yet to have that happen, okay? A day where I go on a bike ride and I have my Shakeology and I eat really well and I drink a ton of water. I eat mostly veggies. When I did those 4 things, I lost weight really quickly, okay? So then I started to dive into the deeper level of the program, okay? And so you're going to see, like Alana talks, she's got a lot of little catchphrases and rules. I'm not going to go through all those. That's something you're going to need. If this sounds like something you're interested in, I want you to go through that progression. I just wanted to tell you, like, as I got started, for the first week, I just did those 4 things. I just stuck with the 2 bunnies, right? Water first, veggies most, track your food, weigh yourself every day. Just did those things and started to get into a pattern, right? I'm down 11 pounds now. I was down 10, then I gained 5 back because I wasn't doing those 4 things. And then I really quickly lost those 5 again. And now I'm back here and there's another 5 that I really want to lose, okay? That's what 2B Mindset is about. It's those 4 things, right? And with a lot of other things that are kind of built into it. So let me show you really quickly a couple of things. I'm going to share my screen. Come on. Oh, there it goes. Forgot to push that. Hey, there I am. This is, whoops, that's the packages. This is what the tracker looks like when we have the app that comes out. So I'll talk a little bit about all the timing in just a second. There's an app that's being developed. It's going to be available June 4th. The app is going to take care of a lot of this stuff, okay? But this is what the tracker looks like. So every morning you've weighed yourself. So you write the date, you write your weight, you write how many pounds you've lost. What's your current mindset that's getting into this idea of creating positive relationships with food? You have water goal. What'd you eat for breakfast? When did you eat it? Lunch, center. This stuff that I've crossed out is essentially how you would formulate a plate. Okay. And I've just crossed it out because I just know Beachbody, they don't even want me showing this. So I'm going to get out of that really quickly and just talk about, well, I guess I'll stay here for a second. What you have here is a way to design a plate. Now, I don't even know what this one looks like, regardless of it being crossed out, because I just have Shakeology, and that's fine. Shakeology with some fruit in it, okay? That's the recipe for a healthy breakfast, right? Then it gives you, here's what your lunch should look like. Again, it's every one of these vegetables are half the plate at least, okay? So it's veggies most. But it gives you what your plate should look like. What it doesn't do, and what works for me, is it doesn't tell you specifically, this is the food you need to eat. Okay, so it's day 32. Today for lunch, you need to have a cheeseburger or whatever that thing is, whatever those meals are, right? It just gives you a ton of flexibility. What vegetables do you like to eat? You don't like any vegetables? Well, you might need to get a grasp on that. How has that been working for you? Has that been a positive relationship with food? Probably not. All right. So it just lays out for each meal, here's what your plate should look like. So for the first week, I just did the two things, the two bunnies, right? Then I started to dive in. I was like, okay, that worked. Let's see if I structure my meals this way. And I mean, it's not like, this is not rocket science either. This is pretty simple stuff, especially if you've done something like Time Nutrition. You have most of your carbs in the morning and lunch. And then later in the day, less carbs, meaning like fiber carbs, meaning bread, that type of stuff, right? You're going to get a ton of carbs from vegetables, okay? Vegetables are rich with carbohydrates. The difference is that they're also super nutrient dense, and it's really hard to overeat, okay? So one of the other questions I got, which I'll just deal with now, like Michelle Vitelli asked me, like, what if you're, trying to gain weight, or, because you don't eat maybe enough? This is not a deprivation thing. There's no calorie counting. There's no range. There's none of that stuff. It's eat healthy food, because it's really hard to overeat broccoli. Like, when was the last time you're like, oh my God, I ate way too much broccoli? Like, you almost can't, unless you're really, really forcing yourself to do those things. By limiting our intake of these crappy carbs, your body just absorbs more nutrients, and it's just a much healthier way of eating. So that's kind of a little bit about the program. Here's where I think that the program is really going to be great for people. The first one I've already given you is people who either don't want to exercise or can't exercise. People who are hurt, we have just some people we're working with now they're coming off injuries. You can't give somebody 80-day obsession like that. Like, they need to work their way into it. And when exercise is extra credit, hey, congratulations, you went for a walk today. And you get to feel good about that. You really get to feel good about it, rather than, all I did was walk today. It's like, oh, I walked today, extra credit, right? And that's on that tracker sheet. I don't know if you saw that. And then at the bottom, it's asking this question, why today was great. So it's really good for those people. I think it's really good for people like me, who are looking for a plan that has a ton of flexibility, and B, looking for a plan that's long-term sustainable. Like, I'm all about the ultimate reset. I think those 21 days are absolutely amazing, but that's not something you're going to do every day or on a regular basis. It's just not a sustainable thing. And I just, for me, the 21-day fix felt that way. And I know there's people who do multiple rounds. And again, does it work? Of course it does. Absolutely. 100%. I have no argument. It just doesn't fit me well, right? So I'm looking for something that fits me well, and this has that aspect of it. The other group of people that I think this is just going to really, probably the biggest target audience, are really people who either, and let's do and or, right? Either they've struggled, have had like emotional eating issues, have struggled with those things in the past, or really don't know how to eat. And there's a lot of people like that. I think society is becoming a little bit more aware that we need to be eating whole, healthy, natural foods rather than continuing to just pull stuff out of a box or out of a freezer dish. People are starting to understand those aren't that's not a good choice, right? If you're trying to lose weight. Maybe if you're trying to gain weight, that's a great choice. But if you're trying to lose weight, it's not a good choice. And I think society is really coming to terms with that and understanding that. But this is a big education piece for her, for them rather. And that's a big piece of what you get is these videos. So you get these kind of rules about the two bunnies, here's what your plate should look like, and integrating all that stuff. And then a bunch of other little kind of phrases that she has that are really great. Then there's a lot of education, just education piece of like I said earlier, like we don't need fiber-based carbs like bread at dinner because you're going to get them through vegetables. But here's what the vegetables look like versus a piece of bread. Nutritional content, right? There's a lot of education that is built into this program. I've always believed that once people understand why, they're much more adept to follow through. And then if they're drinking a lot of water along the way and they're tracking all this stuff, they're going to start to see really positive results. And that's when they tend to go to the next level and be like, okay, now I'm going to get a little more in depth. For example, with a big lesson I learned, substituting turnips for sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes are great. I've been eating sweet potatoes for a long time. I always felt really good about it. It's a really starchy carb, in fact. Better than a regular potato for sure, but not as good as a turnip. Started eating turnips. Well, I just didn't know. I didn't know. So I learned something new about that. The other thing, and I told this story last night on a different call that I was doing, but the other thing is that it's not about excluding anything. It's about tracking everything. And it's about understanding how the food you intake affects your weight loss. So a really good example of this, and where I just kind of fell in love with Alana and her whole mindset, was that one of the rules, I'll let you in on one of the other rules, is dinner and done. It's called dinner and done, which means that you eat dinner and then you don't eat anymore, which is great unless you like to have recharge at night, which I do, particularly like yesterday when I go burn 1,000 calories on the bike and I'm greased, and I need that for recovery so that I can come back and do another workout today. So we were on a Zoom call and I just asked her like, hey, this violates your rule. What do you think? I was full on expecting the answer, well, it violates the rule. So if you're violating rules, you're not going to lose weight. So don't violate the rule. Cut it out of your diet. Not her response at all. Her response was first to ask me why I wanted to take it. Then what she said was, here's what I would do. Track it. Just track it and just see if you have recharge at night and the next day you gain weight. And that if that becomes a pattern, you maybe want to think about, are the benefits of recharge, including the sleep and the recovery part of it, do they outweigh it causing me to gain weight? Maybe they do, right? If you're maybe okay with that. Or does it have any impact at all? Well, what I noticed was that it didn't have any impact on my weight loss. So violating a rule, right? Which again, like if your mind is obsessed with something, you can't violate the rules, right? But if your mind is that I'm just tracking everything and I'm just trying to learn every day about how the foods I'm eating affect my goals, okay? So I did that. I just tracked it and I was like, you know what? I feel like I sleep better, which sleep is the ultimate recovery formula. I recover faster from my workouts. It doesn't seem to have any bearing on whether I gain weight or not. And what I started doing was just maybe eating a little bit less food at dinner if I wasn't really all that hungry. I just kind of leave a little space. Then I knew I was going to have my recharge after dinner. That's it, right? And that is where I think Alana is different. And that's one of the questions that we got earlier is like, how are people changing after watching the videos? I think that's how they're changing. I think they're understanding that it's not about you can't have cake because it's your daughter's birthday. It's not about that. It's about looking at the piece of cake and going, okay, really want some cake. I know that tomorrow I'm going to weigh in and it's probably not going to help me reach my goals, but I still want the cake. Maybe I'll have a smaller slice of cake. Maybe I'll have a bigger slice of cake. And I'm not going to beat myself up about it and kill myself and feel like I'm, it's about acceptance and understanding. And the simple understanding that the food you put in your body impacts you're reaching your goals, when you're trying to lose weight in particular. Okay. So that's really what this whole thing is about. And it's really, again, for the people I think have struggled with emotional eating disorders and or really just don't know how to eat. And I think there's a ton of crossover between those two groups of people. I think this is really, really fantastic because it addresses both of those things really, really well. And if you haven't seen Alana's story by now, you're living under a rock. If you're watching me and you haven't watched her, you should probably start there. You know, I think it was like 6th grade. Her parents started sending her to fat camp every summer, and she would gain a bunch of weight in the school year and then go to fat camp and lose it all and then gain a bunch of weight, and created this super destructive cycle in her life. And the 2B mindset came out of not wanting to do that anymore. And so I think that's really fantastic. I'm going to back up and see if we have questions, then we'll get into pricing and all that stuff. Okay, not really seeing any. I'm going to jump back to the questions that were asked earlier and make sure I respond to those. Oh, Michelle Sides asked a question about success groups. Yeah, so success groups, what they were talking about on the national call was in the, oh, whoops, I realized I'm not sharing my screen. Is under Grow My Business, product tools, and shareable media, there is a 2B Mindset product toolkit. And you will find a success group guide. It's really just a challenge group guide. They just are not calling them challenge groups. That's real. They're calling it a success group. And again, it's just, right, like mindset thing, just different mindset from, you know, a challenge group being, it's a fitness thing, you know, and this is about reshaping how you feel about food and your relationship with food. And it's just a different thing. And that's why they're calling them success groups rather than that. The success group, from what she was talking about yesterday, it has a lot of additional stuff in it, videos, that sort of thing, that some additional content that can be used for groups, which I think is awesome. All right, let me go back to questions really quickly. Whoops. Yeah, Leslie, I didn't get an answer on that gastric bypass question. I'll ask. I can't, I mean, hopefully after you hear me talk about it, you're kind of like, they shouldn't have any problem with that, because it's not about, oh, you need to eat 2,000 calories. And you're like, but my body can only handle 1,000. It's not about that. It's about, like, you know, eating with a certain way when the 2 bunnies, and stopping when you're satisfied. You know, eat when you're hungry and stop when you're satisfied. And, you know, creating a relationship that's really positive with food, where you can go, I've got some dinner left, but I'm not really hungry anymore. I'm satisfied now. And if I leave that on the plate tomorrow morning, the scale's probably gonna move in my favor. And when you can start to connect those two things, because you're weighing in every morning, it creates this really positive relationship with, I'll just let that go. I don't need to eat. I don't need to finish, you know, lick my plate. I already responded to Donna's questions about things like optimize and digestive health. And again, I think it just gets back to, you know, the can I have that thing? I keep going. These are the 2 bunnies. These are my air quotes. Okay. The can I have that thing, air quotes. It's just not how this works. It's up to you. And it's up to you. And it's up to you to decide, does that thing cause me to gain weight? And if it does, are there some benefits to it that I want to keep doing it, despite the fact that maybe it's going to cause me, it's not going to help me lose weight, maybe is a better way to look at it? Or is this thing causing me to gain weight and I don't want to do that, so I'm just going to get rid of that and replace it with vegetables? Good example, snack for me used to be going to this cabinet and grabbing some crackers or some chips and this stuff called bitchin' sauce, which is kind of like hummus, but it's made from almonds and it's super good and it's really healthy. Now I just have veggies, because the chip, that was not helping me. This cabinet here, the only thing in there that helps me is Beach Bars. That's where we keep our Beach Bars. That wasn't helping me. So it's another good question, I guess. I mean, things like Shakeology, things like the Beach Bars, and pretty much anything Beachbody has, they're all integrated into this thing. The performance line is part of it. Why? Because you're just tracking your food. You're tracking your food. Now, if you're tracking your food and you're like, I wonder how Recover is impacting me, track it. And then don't take it for a few days and track it. And is maybe Recover, the extra calories in Recover are not helping you lose weight on the scale, but they're helping you come back and crush your workouts. maybe that's something you want to do. Now, since workouts are optional, Performance Line is optional too, right? So maybe it's not like necessarily the most optimal way to maximize Performance Line, right? Unless you've got something like I've got, which is cycling, which Performance Line fits really well with. So I'm going to back up and see if there's other questions. If not, let's talk a little bit about pricing and what you get. So first thing, let's talk a little bit about dates, when things are coming out. So midnight tonight, it'll be available for purchase. 2B Mindset will be available for purchase. That's what they're saying. I think they're doing that so that when you wake up tomorrow, it'll be there, hopefully, right? This is a new launch thing that we're doing here. Instead of 9 p.m. Pacific time or noon Pacific, they're going to shoot for midnight and hopefully have it up. So I don't suggest you necessarily stay up until midnight to order the thing because it's not going to make a huge impact on your life. Probably hurt your sleep, which will not help you on the scale. So if you purchase between tomorrow, okay, May 2nd and June 3rd, there's going to be a $20 discount. Okay, and I'm going to show you the pricing, go through the FAQ in just a second. I just want to make sure that you understand that everybody gets a 20% discount. Another question that's been asked a lot is, do coaches get their 25% discount? Answer is yes. The other thing that's different about this is that when you buy it, you get it and it's yours, okay? And you have access to 2B Mindset in perpetuity. The easiest way, most people are going to access it through BOD. There's going to be a new tab in BOD called Nutritionals, I think, or what? Nutrition tab. Under that Nutrition tab, they're going to locate 2B Mindset, and you'll have access to it if you've paid for it. That's where Fixate will move to. And then there's going to be a new Shakeology channel there where they're going to have recipes and some exclusives with people like Darren O'Lean and Isabel Deichler that I think will be really, really cool. But it's this more nutrition focus, which I like, and again, that's just what's fitting into my life right now. Like, how does Beachbody, Milan Jensen talks about this healthy solution. This is my healthy solution. It's riding my bike and doing this program and taking the supplements. That's what's working for me right now. And it's really a blessing. Okay, then on June 4th, an app is going to launch. Right now, they're saying it's iOS only. I happen to know they're testing Android. So if you're Android, don't freak out. That app is going to be called Beachbody Nutrition Plus, and that's where you're going to access things like this tracker I just showed you, a way to track your food. Well, I guess that's the tracker I just, a way to track your food, but also a way to track your weight, and a nice little like graphical display. I've just seen like some screenshots of it. It looks really, really cool. So let me share my screen really quickly and let's talk about pricing and all that good stuff. This is the FAQ. Hey, remember the FAQ? This FAQ is really, really good. It's $97.49. It lays out all this information, all these dates that I talked about, right? Like midnight on the 2nd, $20 off. What I want to skip down to is, I guess let's start with what's included. So there's a really nice breakdown of what's included. I thought I might just play this video for you with Alana. For those of you guys who haven't gotten to meet her yet, I can make it a little bit bigger. And she'll show you what's in it.
I'm so excited for you to get the 2B Mindset Challenge Pack. I want to walk you through everything you're getting when you get the 2B Mindset Challenge Pack. So it's going to start with all my videos. The videos are incredible. I've been working with Beachbody for over 2 years, putting together all the videos that you're going to need to lose your weight happily and actually keep it off. So it's going to start with my foundational principles, what I call the 2 bunnies, and that's going to get you started. It's going to be followed by the plated method, which is going to walk you through breakfast, lunch, dinners, how we want to set our meals up so we can have best success. Then it's going to show you how to go to events, how to travel, how to dine out. If you don't cook, how to order in. It'll also have some recipes in there and answer a lot of the questions that you might have, like, what do I do if the scale goes up? And what if I hit a plateau? And it's also going to show you how to set up your kitchen and go to the grocery store. So they're really amazing videos that I think you're going to love watching at least one time, but you'll probably want to watch them a couple more times too. Then it's going to come with a getting started guide. The getting started guide is really basic. It just shows you how to get started. Now, all the printed materials you'll be able to download via PDF, or you can wait to get them in this box. So the getting started guide is where it'll get started. Then it's going to follow with my go-to guide. This is awesome. The go-to guide you're really going to want to keep with you when you go to the grocery store, maybe in your backpack, your purse, in your car, because this is kind of like a recap of all the videos. So all the major points from the videos will be in here, but it also has really great shopping lists in here too. So it's just a nice thing to keep with you. Then there's the recipe book. So whether you're a gourmet chef or you've literally never cooked before, you're gonna love this recipe book, because I used to not cook too, and these recipes are very simple, basic ingredients, steps, and they make big, satisfying, delicious recipes that you, your friends, and your family will all love. So don't be intimidated by a recipe if you've never followed one. You'll be able to follow these recipes really simply, and they're so satisfying and delicious and very, very, very accessible. Then there's the tracker. This is what's going to keep you on track. This is awesome. Do not underestimate the tracker. I know there are a lot of other trackers on the market that you might have seen before. This is like no other. This I've really worked very hard with Beachbody to put together. We worked on it with hundreds of people using it to see how it best makes sense. And it's really a great accumulation of all the knowledge from working with all my clients in the past, how you can track your success best with the 2B mindset. I really think you're going to love this. Then there's the water bottle. Again, this is like no other water bottle. I know you've seen other water bottles, but this one is truly fantastic and specific for this program. One, I love that it's very portable, because wherever you are, your water bottle you're going to want to have with you. I love that there's a straw, because that makes drinking water more fun and easy. And it's 30 ounces, which is awesome, because I'm a big fan of bigger water bottles. So you don't have to think about 8 to 10 glasses of water a day. You'll just think about like 3 to 4 of these a day. So it's really wonderful. But also, when you turn it over on the side, you'll have all my favorite catchphrases. So if you look at the water bottle at first, you might not understand what all these catchphrases mean. But once you start watching the videos, you'll get like the private jokes of all these catchphrases, and you'll start to really love them and be happy that they're reminding you to stay positive with your mindset and your weight loss as you keep this with you. And when you get the challenge pack, you're going to get Shakeology. Shakeology is an incredible tool for the 2B mindset. It's so delicious. It's so filling and satisfying. There are amazing recipes I've included with the 2B mindset for using Shakeology. You could have it breakfast, lunch, dinner. People love it at different times. I happen to love it all the time as my daily consistent breakfast, but you can play with it. The chocolate is my personal favorite, but I also love the vanilla and recipes and the cafe latte, and it's just, they're all so good. So pick the flavor that you want and to try it first, but I think you're gonna wanna keep experimenting and getting different flavors all the time, because it's such a great tool and so helpful for doing the 2B mindset happily, so you can keep your weight off.
All right, so that is a little breakdown of, sorry, let me get rid of this. Boom, later. Oh, no, go away. Sorry. There I am. That's a little breakdown of what's in the box. Oops, and this is about to start to play another video. Let's not do that. And that's a little breakdown of what you get in the box. I love that we're sending people boxes again. However, you can't download this stuff. So that's a really important thing to understand, is that if once somebody purchases this thing, they've got access to everything straight away, but they're still going to get the written materials. I just feel like that's so important, that the written stuff. I love that we're doing that. While we were playing that, we got another question that I wanted to address really quickly. And the question was, can you do this with intermittent fasting? And the answer is it probably depends on what you're doing as far as intermittent fasting. So I consider myself to be an intermittent faster, in that my first meal of the day rarely comes before right about now. This morning I had a Shakeology right before our call, and that was my breakfast. I don't usually eat until around right now, 11:45, noon. That's when I eat my first meal of the day. But a lot of people, intermittent fasting is often associated with more of a low carb, high fat diet. That is just not what this is. This is really just this is a primarily vegetable-based diet with protein, healthy amounts of protein, and and fruits and other types of carbohydrates like bread and pot and that sort of thing. So I think it depends. But I also think what Alana would probably tell you is track it. Track it. This isn't intermittent fasting by any means. And I, she's talked a little bit about IF and her belief that it's just not really a fully sustainable thing. But if it's working for you, keep doing it. And it's the same advice I'm giving people who are doing 80-day obsession. I mean, if that's working for you, don't screw it up because we've got a new shiny thing. Rinse and repeat and do what works for you and works for your customers. Okay. But if you're finding yourself struggling with that, like I knew I would, and you find that there's a lot of other people who don't fit in that because maybe they don't want to exercise, or maybe they can't exercise for whatever reason, or they want an exercise, but the exercise they want to do is riding a bike or going for a walk or doing something like that. This becomes another tool in the toolbox, okay? But I think that's how she would really put it. Let me walk you through pricing really quickly. In the meanwhile, if you have questions, whoops, that's the wrong button. Shoot them over. Okay, so once again, we're going back to the FAQ. There's a little bit of a like Google it thing here. If you're not reading in between the lines, Google it. Okay, how much is it? Google it. Right here in the FAQ, $97.49. But what's included is here. You can also watch that video. The challenge pack options are here. There's 2 challenge pack options. One of them is with Shakeology. One of them is with Shakeology and on demand. So you can see the one with just Shakeology doesn't have on demand. This one has on demand. Pretty simple, straightforward. Here's the promotional pricing. So again, this is between these dates here. It's all laid out. So, and this is US dollars. It also has Canadian and British pounds. Your basic price for promotional price for customers is going to be $99 for the base kit, which is everything Alana just showed you minus Shakeology. Okay, our coach pricing, this is our 25% discount, is $74.25. So you get your discount on this. What that means is that your commission on a full retail sale, the $99 full retail sale, is about 25 bucks. Okay, nice little commission, nice team volume associated with this too, which I'm a big fan of personally. The challenge pack will be on sale for 160 bucks. You can't buy a challenge pack if you're a coach. The 2B Mindset, the on-demand challenge pack with Shakeology and on-demand is going to be 200 bucks promo. And again, you can't buy that. All right. So then there are some things you can buy separately, the tracker, the water bottle. Here's pricing on all that stuff. Now, another thing is that if you buy as a coach, okay, let me unshare here for a second and make this clear. If you, because you're a coach, if you're watching this, you're a coach. If you buy this program, you buy that mindset kit between May 2nd and June 3rd, you get to be a part of Alana's coach group, just like Autumn did, okay? I will just tell you that Alana and Autumn are polar opposites as far as I think how they kind of deal with people and manage situations. And again, like I told you the story earlier about the dinner and done rule, and I'm violating that. I'm violating one of the rules, right? And her attitude about that was not no cheating. It was, does it work? You figure it out because it's your deal. So you figure it out. That's kind of how Alana deals with things, which for me is a much better way to deal with me. In case you're wondering, let's go back to the share and then I'll show you the rest of the pricing and then we can wrap up and answer any questions. All right, so after June 4th, everything just goes up 20 bucks. Pretty straightforward. The retail price becomes $120. Your coach price becomes about $90. What that means is your commission is $29.75. This is all very similar to pricing that we've seen for years. The old pricing on Shakeology was basically like this. Again, we have good TV on all this stuff. And then everything just goes up 20 bucks is essentially, where it's going to land. If you have other questions, there's an FAQ in the FAQ. I mean, how much better can you get than having an FAQ within your FAQ? Check the FAQ. I mainly wanted to talk to you today about, to kind of give you a little more insight, because I just don't think the corporate messaging is doing enough to communicate what this thing is really about. It's kind of like this, just get it and then you'll see. And I don't want to deal with you guys that way. What I want to do is I want to explain to you what the program is all about so you can make an informed decision about whether this fits into your life or not. If it doesn't, because you're doing intermittent fasting and you're eating a low carb, high fat diet, and that's working for you, keep doing that. It might be a great option for some of your customers. But if it's not, and you're like me, and you're like, I need to make some changes here, and I need some structure behind that, but not like control mechanisms, which is the way that I view the containers. This is perfect. It just fits in so well. And again, I think it appeals to people who have issues with exercising, whether it's they can't or won't, or don't want to rather, or if they have had emotional eating disorders. So much of this is about wrapping your mind around things differently. And it's not about feeling bad, it's about feeling good. And it's about connecting to, I was just walking out just last night. It's so funny. Just last night, here's a quick story. Maybe I should have led with this, but just last night, I was walking out to my car to go pick up my son from Boy Scouts. And so we're just having a little earthquake. I'm just making sure it was a little one. Just a little one. Okay, great. Happens here in Southern California. So anyway, I'm walking out to my car and I'm just feeling good. Like I'm wearing, this is a shirt. I don't really wear this shirt anymore because this shirt's kind of tight on me and it hasn't looked good for a while. And I have a shirt kind of like that on last night. And I was like, just feeling good. And I was like, I've been training hard, and I've been eating right and I feel great. And it's about connecting to those moments. Then as the kids were going to sleep, they were brushing their teeth and they were making a ton of noise. And I was trying to sleep. And so I went out to go tell them to keep it down and just brush your teeth and go to bed, right? And my son said to me, whoa, Dad, you're really shaving off the pounds there, aren't you? And I was like, yeah, I am actually. Thanks for noticing, dude. And it's about those moments, right? That's really the core of this thing. It's just about connecting to that, because that feeling good, nothing tastes better than being skinny, or the skinny feels, or whatever that saying is. That's what this is about. But it's about then taking some time and connecting to those things and being like, okay, so now I'm going to wake up tomorrow. This is the first call I've done for a while where I haven't had Energize. I almost always have Energize in my water. I don't have it today because I'm so excited that people are going to get to have this thing that has really helped me. So I'm going to double check for questions. If you are watching the replay, please. Yeah, Jen, I watched that call and I just went, they're just not telling people what this is. And, if I tell you what the two bunnies are you then going to go, oh, well, I don't need that. I don't need that program. Maybe you are. And if that's what all you need is those two, if you can do the two bunnies and nail it, I'm glad for you. Good. That worked well for me in the beginning. And then I was like, I want more of that because that works. And beyond that, the plate it concept, which is all that stuff I showed you earlier that was kind of blacked out. They wouldn't like it if they knew I was telling you the bunnies. They really get pissed off at me if I showed you the plate it tracker. Okay. So it's just a way to set up your plate and you put the food you want to eat on it, but just structure it the way, you can probably imagine that it's veggies most, right? I mean, you eat a lot of veggies. I'm eating so many veggies, I can't keep them in the fridge is the biggest problem I have now. And my son and I are building this huge expansion to our vegetable garden because I'm like, I need more stuff that I can just go outside and here's some lettuce, boom, make a salad where I don't have to worry about going to the store. That's been the biggest challenge of this thing. I did my before and after pictures along with my testimony and all that stuff yesterday. And they're like, what's been the biggest challenge? Keeping vegetables in the fridge is the biggest challenge. That's a pretty good problem to have, right? So let me look and see if there's other stuff. Doesn't look like it. We've covered a lot of ground here. If you do have questions, post them below, or even just if it's something you don't want to post below, reach out to me. Leslie, I'll try and get you an answer on that gastric thing. I posted it. Our group is kind of closed. So I had to post it in a comment to the national. I don't know if she's going to necessarily see it. But again, I think it's perfect for people like that because I'm not going to tell you, oh, you got to pack down all this food. I'm going to tell you eat vegetables that you like eating, first of all, not vegetables that you hate. I hate beets and mushrooms, and I've not eaten a single beet or a single mushroom, nor have I been told to. Now, there's some recipes that if you like beets and you like mushrooms, there's plenty of that in the recipe book. And the recipes are, I will say that the recipes are really good too. Recipes are really awesome. So that's it. I hope you guys are excited about this. I hope you guys, just kind of see it as I do. It's a different thing. It just, you gotta, I think as you start with this thing, you just gotta like erase everything you know about what we've done in the past. And I also think there's a huge opportunity with the extra credit exercise to get people going in a group that's just focused on nutrition. Then start talking about your workouts and see if you can't get people to transition over. Here comes my dog. To transition over to also doing some exercise. And then for me, again, it's the freedom of not having to look at a schedule and go, today you're supposed to do legs. And I'm like, I'm toast from riding my bike yesterday. I don't want to do legs. I'm gonna do upper body today. Give my shoulder a run and see how that goes. So anyway, that's enough. Thanks for your time. Again, if you have questions, I'm here for you. All right, guys, take care.